Hi, my name is KnowGo and I'm from KnowGo, and this is video number 2 explaining the Mauritius Machine. And I was in the middle of the building permit application as an example when we ended the previous video. So I'll just take over from there, and I assume that you have seen the previous video 1 of explanation of the Mauritius Machine. So I'm in the middle of explaining how this form that you see here is being generated from Excel. And I have explained how the checkboxes have appeared, and now I want to turn to how the data element fields appear. So we were in Excel, and I have been explaining why the checkboxes appear and disappear depending on their conditional rules here. Please bear in mind that D11 is a person and D12 is a company. We need to know this because now I will scroll to the right and follow the activity which we are analyzing currently, the applicant and the applicant's role. So I now scroll to the right across all the decision variables that appear on other steps. And then we will notice that there's a help text that can appear. Again, they appear in the language you select. So if you had chosen Danish, you would then see the help text appear in Danish, of course. So I'll just do that to show it. And we load the step in Danish. And it's loading. And then it will load, and you see that the help text now is in Danish. And then let's switch back to English. So the fields that appear here in these groups, currently they show in Danish, in a moment they will load in English, are designed from Excel if you continue to the right from the help text area. So here are the fields that appear on the form, and you will notice that there are 4 fields here: first name text, middle name text, last name text, and application CPR number text, which all have D11 as their conditional relevance. They appear only if we have checked the D11 checkbox, which is the fact that the applicant is a private person. There you see the 4 fields here. The actual labels that appear are not those. It will the labels you specify at the bottom, and there you can specify one in each language as well for each column, and thereby you have a label in Danish and a label in English for this column, which represents the field first name text, which is conditionally relevant on D11 being the person. And you have 2 fields that will appear if D12, and so I will click D12 instead of D11, and that's the company, and there you have the 2 fields representing the company. So this show hide functionality is automatically generated and will appear according to your selection of checkboxes. Now then there are fields in this box which always appear: the street name, the house number, etc. And they are here. So you can also see in this conditional relevance area there's no rule. That means they are always relevant, and they represent the applicant street name text all the way down to the applicant email text, which are the fields that you see in this group, and they always show because they are always relevant. And you will notice the stars here are from these stars, so the street name is required, but the third information, the applicant letter, floor, door text, is not associated with a star, so that's why there is no star here, and it will not be required, and we can submit it, as you see, without any information there. So again, as with the decision variables, each column is a data element, and you put it on the form using the letters. In this case we use A to denote access, and it means pre-fill and submit, but the significance of the letters will be the matter of another video. Now, so that's how we design the form, and we can now continue to the next step by using next. I just want to show you how we make the steps relevant. And so the invite architect will be skipped if I don't check this one, but if I check it, the next relevant step will be invite architect. So I press next now, and I get the required validations. I should say that it's because they have been hidden, and when we hide variables we clear them, and because we don't want to submit them if they are hidden. So now we have data, and I will now be able to invite the architect. So I press next, meaning I submit the form again. You then see again the step that I came from is completed, and it has now moved to the next relevant step, which is invite architect. Now, if I had not invited the architect, it would have moved to here. So let's specify my own email address for that purpose, and I will specify a one-time password here, which I can say that it expires if it doesn't react in a week. Then the email will no longer be valid. And then what will happen is that it will send now an email to this email address, and the one who receives this email will be able to play the role of architect as it is determined in the process matrix. So the one who receives the email will then play this role, and the E's here will show what the architect is allowed to do. Now, I don't have time to process all this, but you would see the architect would not be able to execute this step, but would be able to execute this step, meaning fill the form. For demo purposes, we also invite the case worker. Now, I would like now to say that you can navigate in the menu as well as using the next button, and that the application here will allow you to do anything that is not disallowed. So, for instance, at this time we are allowed to submit a plan of the roof of the building, and so I will select the step in the menu, and then it will load the form from that step. But as long as I press next, it will always pick the first step that is relevant in the stack. But you can now see that I'm on the plan of roof step, and I show it just to show you that we can include files as data elements as well. And finally, I think before switching to the case worker, it will be relevant to show you that we can do electronic signing, and that happens on these steps. Now, by default, it doesn't assume that I have an electronic signature, so I have to say that I have an electronic signature, and then it will load the signing step. Otherwise, I'll have to print the application form and sign it manually. So if I say that I have a digital signature, then the step of submitting digitally will become relevant, and you will notice that by now it's no longer grayed out. I can actually select it in the menu, and I can now submit digitally. It takes a little time to load because it loads an applet used in Denmark for signing data, and it also loads all the data that I have selected. And maybe I should switch to showing how that works. If we go down and we go down to the submission of data in the workflow, we skip by the enclosures, and we're now here at submit digitally. And you will notice that in this case the architect is not allowed to execute it, so it will have to be the owner or the resident that does the signing of the application. And there are a couple of roles, the neighbor, for instance, that cannot see the step, would not be able to see what you sign. The X's here denote you're not allowed to see it at all. Whereas in the data grids, in the decision variable area as well as in the data element area further to the right, you see X and M. And X means I extract in this case. M means if this data element is modified, I have to redo it. And that in denoting the X and XMs here, you tell it to run the electronic signature with that data element. So